Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, episode 13 of season 3, open season. We'll let you know what that's all about. I am your host with the most, Eric, and my main man right over there, Ron. How are you tonight?
The most of what?
Most likely to win the predictions every week.
Yeah,
forward.
okay. All right.
All right. So
So
I'm
one
calling
week
it
and
already.
you get all excited.
That's it. I'm calling it. I'm back. We're back. Got a lot to talk about tonight. Really excited about everything that's going on in the sports world. We'll cover
Over under time.
Over under.
Christmas cards lost. I'm saying 6.
We're at 6 tonight. All right, let's see if we can get there and beat that. You did pretty well last week beating it. So let's start off with that leadoff story. And our leadoff story is we are down to 4. The final 4 in the college basketball world has begun. Your thoughts on the 4 teams that are left? So first game we'll talk about Miami, number 5 Miami at number 4 UConn.
Yeah, I'd like to say it was surprising. But, it's like, we talked about this several times already, but I don't think it's really that surprising anymore. With players leaving for the pros after a year, almost all the time now, if there is any chance that they're going to get drafted, they leave for the pros.
Yeah, it's a reality now in college basketball without it, even with the INL, because obviously they're not going to make as much money as they will in the NBA.
Right.
They're that talented.
Right. Yeah. So, with that being said, most of the times, like the bigger schools are going to get the better players, but that kind of evens it up because you get these kids that stay all 4 seasons in some of these schools, and you get the results that you have this year with really 3 teams that nobody really expected to be in the Final 4.
Yeah, I would even say, look, UConn being in there, they started off really well. We're definitely one of those teams, and then you saw them struggle a little bit. But I would say the job Hurley's done with UConn, very surprising how quick of a turnaround he's been able to bring that program back. Now they're in a Final 4 again.
Yeah.
But Miami, too, very athletic. I think this team, the only issue could be size. They're not very big. So from a standpoint of rebounds, could be, an important part in this game. And UConn, one of the highest turnover teams left. I know there's 4 teams, but even in the tournament, they were a very high turnover team. It's going to be a fun game, though, because, listen, there's 3 out of these 4 teams that have never won a championship. UConn is the only one who's won, and they've won it 4 times. So does that play a factor? Again, not the same coach, obviously not the same players. Will that make a difference, though?
Yeah, but you still have that notoriety that I don't know if ego is the right word. Maybe swag might be a little better of a word, because the school has been there, has done it. So they have that in them to, hey, we are entitled to this one because, look, we're the best team available that's left right now. And we should just get it done.
Yeah.
But that doesn't –
Not this year.
If the coaches on the other teams are telling their kids that, this is what's supposed to happen. UConn is the favorite now, and they're supposed to win the championship. That's what everybody's saying. So it's up to you now to go out there and do it and change what is supposed to be to what could be.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be interesting to see if these schools back away. Again, Miami is an okay school with basketball. Not as well known. UConn's a well-known basketball school.
Right.
So they are the cream of the crop out of these 4 teams left. But realistically, look, all these teams have been pretty productive this entire tournament. You can't sit back and just say, well, they don't deserve to be
Right.
here. So what about the second matchup? You got the number 9 Florida Atlantic versus number 5 San Diego State.
Yeah, that's it. That's the interesting one, right? Because the country might be pulling for those two teams because of where they are.
Yeah, I think they would have rather
Let's
seen,
face it.
if this was the finals. I think it would have been the most watched finals ever. Just
It
because
might be.
you would have sat back and said, none of these teams we would even imagine in a million years being in this position.
Right. So, like this is a Cinderella story that's going to go to the finals.
One of them, yeah.
I mean, when you really think about that, like, there's no way anybody had these two teams in the bracket here.
No,
None.
I think my bracket after the first day was done.
I think almost 80% of the country was like that.
I didn't even waste my time looking at it after the first round. But what about so San Diego State, not very explosive offensively, barely beat Creighton in their last game. They won by a point. Kenny, thanks for joining. It's right. So if you look at it, FAU plays a fast, they're deep. They could cause some problems here. So even though they're the number 9 seed in this matchup, they are probably a better equipped team to play because they can mix and match a lot more than San Diego State.
Yeah, and
this is going to be a fun game, though. Fun game.
I shouldn't give any
no predictions yet.
No predictions, but I like how that team looks. To be honest with you, it's been pretty well balanced for the entire tournament. To be honest with you, I mean when you look at who they've had to play, and I mean that speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think the crucial part too, Ron, is that San Diego State, I think the majority, the games they have won, I think was a combined like 19 points. They play very close games. Yeah. Sometimes that comes back to bite you because if you're not hitting your shots or you're not getting some of those rebounds, and FAU being athletic as
and
they
don't have an
explosive
offense either. So that's that's bound to catch up with you in games like this where you got two teams that now aren't overwhelmed, and they're going to be going in there thinking, wow, we have a chance to go to the finals. And it's no matter down to shooting, really.
Yeah, no matter which way you look at it, Ron, and we're not making a prediction yet. We'll make it at the end of the show. But if it's Miami, San Diego State, I think the only interesting matchup, honestly, out of this would be Miami versus Florida Atlantic, because you keep it on that same state. That might be an interesting one. But otherwise, I'm not looking at the finals. To me, the Final Four is the best of the two matchups, because the finals, to me, I think is going to be a little bit of a letdown regardless. And I could be mistaken in saying that, but I'm not as excited to see if UConn wins versus Florida Atlantic or San Diego State as I am Florida Atlantic and San Diego State right now. And the Miami UConn matchup just seems like it's more interesting to me.
Yeah, it's not like the women's side of the tournament where you have South Carolina, who
is dominating.
Everybody thinks that that's the team. But you have Clark on the other side there, and
Caitlin Clark in Iowa.
She goes off again with the 40 points with the triple double. I don't think anybody could recover from a game like that against them. And I don't think if South Carolina faces that Clark, on that day,
could be an upset. I mean, that's tonight.
That's tonight.
The women's Final Four tonight. I'm definitely checking that out. I'm going to be really interested to see how that turns out. I'm excited about tomorrow night. April 1st, April Fool's. Something crazy is going to happen. It's just in the cards. The date, the Final Four, the NCAA. Check that. Do not miss it. So if you are a basketball fan, which again, if you're at this point, I'm sure you're going to watch. But this could be an interesting one because there's going to be some weird things going on. Just based on April Fools, they might be trying to play some tricks on us. We're going to realize when we turn it on tomorrow night, like all 4 number 1 seeds are still in, and that's what we're watching. And be like, oh, guys, we got you. Because this just doesn't seem real. It just doesn't seem real. But let's move on to some NFL. We're going to talk about our New England Patriots a little bit. And we got some audio. We're going to talk about Bill Belichick. So he's made some recent comments that have been pretty much criticized by a lot of his former players, obviously some of the fans. And let's just listen to some of this audio. I know it's not well heard because of the background noise, but let's see if we can make out exactly what Bill said.
We play in September. A long way to go. A lot of work to do.
And what would you say to them to give them a reason to be optimistic for what's ahead for the Patriots?
The last 25 years.
So that comment has been highly scrutinized by many. We know the Bill Belichick of the past would never have brought up, things that have happened in the past. It's always we're looking towards the future. You can talk about on to Cincinnati, and they refuse to talk about a game that happened in that moment. And now he's telling fans to basically just say, hey, well, in the last 25 years, we've been pretty successful. Your thoughts on that comment and where you think the Patriots are headed?
Well, my thoughts on that comment is that's a comment to save his job. That's to me what I get out of that. I think that is him telling Robert Kraft that look at what I did the last 25 years. I think that's what that was. That was not for the fans. That was for Robert Kraft because he knows he's up against it this year because now there's talk even on the other networks. We're way ahead of those other networks, frankly. We've been talking about this now all last season and into this year. And frankly, I think he should have been gone already.
Yeah. I listen, when I heard the comment, it bothered me more than you can imagine because I've sat back and that's been the one thing that you could always put your hat on is that we didn't worry about what happened. We worried about the next game, next year, next season, whatever we had to do to get better.
Right.
And now you're sitting back on your laurels and basically saying, look, I don't have to improve this team this year. We were successful for 25 years. The last 3 years, it's basically what you're telling us. It doesn't really matter. Just focus on the 25 years total. And I have a problem because in the last 3 years, you're 25-25. You're a 500 team with one playoff loss.
Right.
That's what the New England Patriots are now. So how can I be optimistic as a Patriot fan, sit back and say, well, the last 25 years, well, you know who's not walking through that door? We're going to do a Rick Pitino right now. Teddy Bruschi's not walking through that door. Willie McGinnis not walking through that door. Ty Law's not walking through that door. Neither is Tom Brady. So guess what? You need to improve, or you are the Boston Celtics now after that successful time they had, because that's where we are.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just glad that...
Stop playing YouTube. Put respect on his name. Kenny, you cannot sit back and tell me that you honestly think that the job that's been done the past 3 years is considered a great job. I don't want to hear that they shouldn't have been 25-25. He puts this team together. He is the one that puts this talent on the field, and he is absolutely failing. And I can't look back and say, well, 22 years of it was great, and now the last 3 have stunk, and I'm supposed to be excited and optimistic about this season when I'm going to be a 500 team again.
No. Let's be honest here. You have to look at the big picture, Eric.
Oh, is that what I'm
first of all, they might not be a 500 team this year.
Very well. They weren't last year.
This is a team that's going to come in last in their division, especially if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers. If they get Aaron Rodgers, then, the Patriots are coming in last. I mean, let's be honest with that. Now, then we have to talk about, well, the Jets are rumored now to be in with Odell Beckham Jr. Well, that would just cinch it, right? Because then now you're talking Jets could contend for the division title.
Ron, this came up the other day. And think about this part of it. Josh Allen and Buffalo have a very good team, right?
Yes.
Nobody's going to deny that. The Miami Dolphins, if Tua Tagovailoa stays healthy, stays upright, they have a very talented team. The New York Jets could get Aaron Rodgers and still be the third best team in that division, just based on the other two and how much talent they have. And now you sit back and you look at the New England Patriots, they are a solid 4, and there's not even a question. There's
No,
not
it's
there's not an ounce that you sit back and go, well, they've got the best coach in the league. I think they have the best coach maybe 20 years ago. Today's coach, I would start to question it. That comment to me says that you've lost what you were.
Yeah.
Because the coach you were on the Cincinnati. You just played against the Kansas City Chiefs and got annihilated. And
Right.
everybody was asking you the question. You said, we're on to Cincinnati. It was in the moment. That wasn't even 30 minutes after the game.
Yeah.
Now you're telling us I'm supposed to go back 20 plus years and just cherish those moments. Are they coming back this season? Like, am I going to see something that I haven't seen the last 3?
You're not. You're not going to. Matter of fact, it could be worse. It could be worse.
And I think, listen,
You know,
you put all your eggs in a basket. You think Bill O'Brien's going to be able to fix everything. If they don't have talent, they don't have talent. I don't care what your offensive coordinator is.
Getting
Without
Bill
talent, you can't do
O'Brien
it.
could be better than what you had last year. Yes, I get that. But what you just did, you just alienated the guy that you wanted to get as a receiver, and that is Hopkins, because Hopkins is not coming here to play for Bill O'Brien.
No.
It's not happening.
OBJ not coming. He's going
Nope.
to run. He wants to go play with Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
So
Don't blame
they're out of the wide receiver market. They're going to probably draft a wide receiver, but I'm sure they're going to drop down and draft a wide receiver. So you're not even going to get the best wide receiver that you possibly could get, because at 14 of what we value pick, and we can get something, at 28 and still get something. We'll get an extra 3rd round pick somewhere. He's so far behind the league now. And I hate saying that, because the man has been a legend in New England, and I'm not taking away what he did do for 20 plus years. But what he's done the last 3 is not, to me, a quality coach.
When you think about it,
or
Eric,
GM.
when you think about it, I'm not even upset that he let Tom Brady walk.
No, I understood it.
I get it. I get it. You give up on somebody a year too early rather than a year too late. I get that. Okay? I get that, when he loaded up on all those players a couple of years ago in the offseason, I get that. Because he felt that the guy that he had, Mac Jones, was a guy that could lead this team. And I still believe that. But you have to absolutely give him some help. He is not going to be the greatest quarterback of all time. It's not going to happen. I mean, let's be honest with that. He's going to be an above average quarterback if you give him the weapons. If you don't give him the weapons.
Yeah, and they don't have it.
And we talked about this, they stayed that lateral move, those lateral moves that they made, and it's like, you sign Juju Smith. Juju Smith would have been a great signing if you kept
Jacoby Myers. Yeah.
Jacoby Myers. If you kept him, that would have been a good pickup, because now you got 2 guys that that can make plays and do the things that you need to do. That would have been good. Okay, because we all built up trust in Myers, and he's a very good receiver to be.
Put it this way, Ron, who is Mac Jones' number 1 target?
Well, that's just it.
So you just took away his best and most reliable wide receiver.
Yep.
You took away the one guy he trusted no matter what. And we said it. There was times he threw the ball to Jacoby. You're like, what's he doing? But he had so much confidence in Jacoby Myers.
Right. And
so you take that away.
Jacoby Myers would get up there and grab the ball, and he would make the play.
And I wouldn't say Jacoby Myers is a top 10, top 15, maybe not even a top 20 wide receiver. But there was a level of confidence that Mac Jones had with Jacoby Myers that now you've taken away.
Because he made big plays.
New offensive coordinator. So this is his 3rd in 3 years.
Yep.
You're basically giving him a new offensive weapon that he now has to learn to work with.
Right.
You've let some defensive guys go that may have been able to contribute. You didn't sign any quality free agents that make me feel any better.
No.
But I can sit back and say, hey, well, in 2018, we won the Super Bowl. That was 5 years ago. That was 5 years ago.
It feels
And
like
I'm
a
not saying
lifetime
I'm going to
already.
expect to win a Super Bowl every year. I'm not saying we should go to the Super Bowl every year. I'd like to be relevant enough to say, hey, we could win the division. And that isn't even a reality at this point.
No,
So who cares what you did 25 years?
that's right.
I think that was the biggest mistake. And then he tried to walk back on it and say, listen, you're starting to lose your grip on what you were. And I think Robert Kraft has had just about enough as well, because he's speaking out and talking about it's not acceptable to not make the playoffs and not.
Yes.
So this thing's going to blow up quicker than I thought. I'll ask you this question before we move on to the next question, Ron. Do they try to keep him long enough to break the record, or do you feel like they're going to get to a point where they just say it's not even worth it?
They're going to get to a point where it's not worth it because Robert Kraft wants to win.
Right. And
Period.
I think it was on my future.
Period.
My future prospects. I think he's gone after next season.
Yeah,
I really do.
I think so too.
I think he's gone. Let's talk a little bit about this Lamar Jackson situation.
If it gets ugly, it could be this year.
Yeah, it could be. Lamar Jackson, really non-existent at this point with any kind of signings, anything. Why do you think there hasn't been more interest in Lamar Jackson? Why hasn't anything even been, talked about? Usually by now you're hearing some kind of rumors, this team's interested or they're talking to him. We've heard nothing.
He doesn't have an agent.
It's a big downfall, right? I think it's been.
And not only is it a big downfall, he doesn't know how to do it. So, and what an agent does is they go out, they create a buzz, they go and talk to all these GMs, and they create something.
Yeah, they
create a market for you if there isn't one.
Yeah.
And if there is one, he just makes it better.
They
That's
put
what an
stuff out
agent
there.
does.
Yep.
That's not what he's doing. He's just out there just waiting for them to call. Well, they're not going to call you. They're going to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until you cave, you call, so that way you sign for less.
Yeah, and I feel like some of the things that I really look, this may be a draft heavy quarterback first round. If a team doesn't get the guy they really wanted, maybe that's when Lamar Jackson becomes interested. So you're talking end of April before you start to hear some of those rumors. The other factor, I think you pointed out perfectly, right? The agent situation. But what about this? In the last 2 years, he's played one game out of 12 in December and January.
Yeah.
And how many teams want to guarantee your money when they're not going to have you when they need you the most?
None.
And he's trying to backtrack on that as well. And there's questions if he could have played last year and decided to sit out because of the contract, not that he was too injured. So he's created some issues just with his health. Yeah. And I think that scares a lot of teams because you don't want to invest. He's looking for a Deshaun Watson type of deal.
Yeah.
Guaranteed money.
Not going to get it.
It's not going to happen. And until he gets that out of his head, to your point, if he had an agent, maybe there would have been an agent that talked him out of it and said, look, let's take what we can get. Right? Maybe you get 35, 40 million for the first couple of years. And the back end, you lose something, but maybe you make it up somewhere else. But for him, he's set on that. I'm going to get 200 plus million guaranteed. You're not, if you're not going to be on the field. There's not going to be a team that's going to sit back and say, look, December, when we're in a playoff push, I can't count on you being on the field.
And frankly, to be honest with you, there are a bunch of teams out there that are in the market for a quarterback, but they're taking a good look at those last two contracts with Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson, and they know that those teams aren't getting their value. They know. So why is anybody going to do that?
It's not worth it. Financially,
he's not Patrick Mahomes.
He's gifted. He's a very talented quarterback.
But he's not on the field.
But he's not on the field. Exactly. You can't make an impact. Yes, your team wins when you're on the field.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens record's great with him on the field. The problem is if you're going to play one out of 12 games, 1 out of 12 in December, January in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
How is your team going to win? They're not. So I don't know. I think after the draft, we're going to see some movement on this or some traction. I'm starting to believe he's coming back to Baltimore. I think they're just not going to be able to find a deal, and he's going to play under that contract.
On that franchise tag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going to be. But kind of crazy to think about because you think about the talent he is. Even the Jets, and this blew my mind yesterday. I heard that there's a possibility that like the Jets are waiting till draft day to make this move with Aaron Rodgers because they want to guarantee at least a second round.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers for a second round pick. I'm baffled. But that's the uncertainty now that these players have started to create because the Jets want to make sure they get something this year because he may not be around next year.
Right.
And they can't take a chance.
Right.
So they need a win now. They can't afford to give up these picks.
And frankly, the Jets have, to me, all of the cards. They have a full deck of cards at their disposal.
Ron, I thought about this. Why wouldn't they at least start to put something out there about Lamar Jackson? Right. If I was the Jets right now and I'm the Jets GM, I'm saying, you know what? I picked up the phone. We're talking to Lamar. We're trying to see what kind of money he wants. Make Green Bay sweat it out a little bit and say, look, you know what? We'll just take the second round pick and move forward. Faceless, thanks for joining. I would say to me that makes the most sense. But yet here we go again. You have a piece out there with Lamar Jackson that the Jets could use right now to probably be the biggest influence on this deal getting done. And getting done the way you want to, and yet they're just sitting back on that as well. So there's so much disinterest in Lamar Jackson right now that you can even use him as a bargaining chip, which blows my mind.
And that's the wrong thing to do. And again, we're talking about a franchise that has had issues in personnel, decision-making, the whole bit. And again, like, you should be using everything at your disposal to better your team. And these teams are just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I know. It's just crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But we'll move on. It is time for our triple play, my friend.
Wait, we'll move on? What?
Move on. You want a little move on?
Grounded to third. There's one.
Baseball talk.
There's two. There it is. It's a triple play.
We've got triple play, and we've gone back 13 years for episode 13. So 2010, these were the top 3 goal scorers in the NHL, and that was Sidney Crosby, Steven Stamkos, and Alex Ovechkin. We are going to decide who we start, who we bench, and who we cut. You are first this week. So
yeah, I think you're trying to torture me with this Sidney Crosby stuff.
I am, and I don't know who Stamlos is, but I guess that's the Mexican version of I love it. Little Stamlos. Miami flavor, Cuban. I love what you do. Stamlos.
Steven Stamlos.
Hey, my friend. You play a little hockey. Let's go. And who would you start, bench, and cut?
All right.
Crosby,
so
Stamlos, and Ovechkin.
I think for me this was pretty easy on who to cut.
Okay.
And that is Senor Steven Stamlos. So I cut him.
Only on Sports Unfolded.
So that was the easy decision because, look, I like Steven Stamkos as a player. I think he's an easy Hall of Fame vote, when he's eligible after 5 years when he retires. Just throwing it.
We're not going to do this again because Alex Ovechkin should be in the Hall of Fame right now. But go ahead.
So that leaves Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin. It depends on really what you want your player to do, right? Do you want him to basically work all parts of the ice? Or do you just want him to score goals? And I went the route of starting Alex Ovechkin.
Okay.
Because of that goal scoring ability. Sidney Crosby a plus 206 as opposed to Alex Ovechkin's plus 70. So Sidney's a much better defensive player. But the rate that Ovechkin can score goals is far and away better. Because when you start looking at those awards, Okay. Yes. Sidney Crosby has the 3 cups.
Yep. Yeah, which is a Ron automatic, but somehow now it doesn't count because 1 beats 3. But I got you. Go ahead.
Well, it's
Yeah,
those
well-
9 Rocket Richard awards for
Okay.
most goals in a season that
Okay.
kind of is
Here we go.
glaring.
You got more
You know, you
glaring
have
is that he won 3
9.
championships. But go
You
ahead.
have 9. Okay, that's almost like how many awards that Sidney Crosby has.
Okay. All right.
And
I'm just
like
listening.
those 9 Rocket Richard awards, it's just too good. It's just too good. And I'll take Ovechkin, and
Okay.
bench Sidney Crosby.
Mhm.
I mean, I think talent-wise, Sidney Crosby is better, but I'm going to take those goals.
All right. So I'm going to tell you right now that the fans are going to applaud me. Thank you. Because I got it right. Because it's Sidney Crosby. You get a guy, first of all, 548 goals. Yes, Ovechkin has more, but 946 assists. So when you look at the fact that this guy is
I
going
know.
to get your whole team involved in a plus 206. So defensively, to your point, when he's
Yeah.
on the ice, your team's better. And on top of it, I want a guy that can win me 2 more cups than the other guy. So the
Yeah.
other guy can score for me, but he ain't winning the whole thing because at the end of the day, when it's crunch time, Crosby doesn't need to be the only one taking the shot. He can distribute it to someone else who's open and they can still win that game. So I went Crosby. I will keep Ovechkin on my bench because, again, that's nice to have in my back pocket if I need a quick goal or somebody that can come in and put the puck in the net. And I cut Stamkos, but I truly think that it should have been Crosby, Ovechkin, and then Stamkos because I just feel like Sidney gives you more. He gives you so much more.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you, fans. Thank you. I appreciate you. And, of course, I
You have
want
like one fan.
One fan. And guess what? They applauded it. I will take it. I will take it. That's 1 for Eric. I'm on
Yeah.
fire tonight,
Oh
my friend.
God, you didn't win that.
I am so on fire because I was.
The only people that sided with you are Pittsburgh Penguin fans.
All right, let's talk some NBA action. Hopefully, Kenny's still on. And we're going to talk about the
And
Sacramento
that's
Kings.
not saying much.
And we're going to talk about the Sacramento Kings. So they have ended the longest playoff drought in any professional sport. It was 16 seasons. They are now back into playoffs. Do you think they can legitimately win the Western Conference?
No. No.
Okay. And I'm going to tell you why they can. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I know you're going to tell me why, but nobody is going to believe you.
Okay. Who has the best record in the Western Conference wise?
Doesn't even matter.
Versus
I
their
don't care.
conference? Denver.
Yeah.
Denver, 32-14. You know who's second?
Yeah.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
30-16. Who has the number 1 offense in the NBA?
Sacramento.
Sacramento. Who has 3 legitimate players that can put up points and create some havoc? Sacramento has just as solid players as anybody else. De'Aaron Fox is a star. 25.2 points per game this season. Domantas Sabonis, 19.1 points, 12.4 rebounds, and 7.2 assists. Guy's almost averaging a triple-double, similar to what Jokic can do. And then you got Keegan Murray, who
What do you mean? Jokic can do or is doing?
can do, yes. Sacktown.
No,
Thank
is
you, Kenny.
doing.
Sacktown, baby. I'm telling you right now. And then you sleep on a kid like Keegan Murray, who's a rookie who has now had the most 3-pointers in NBA history for a rookie and is shooting 40.7%. So they can shoot from outside. They have rebounding. They have De'Aaron Fox, who's a legitimate superstar. They can play against these Western Conference teams, and they can put up points better than anybody else in the league. So you give me a reason why they cannot win the West.
They can't win the West because they're not experienced in the playoffs. Period. That's going to be their demise. That's what's going to happen.
Ron, you could throw anything up on the West right now on a wall and you see what sticks because every one of those teams has a legitimate shot.
Yes, they do.
And that's
They
why
do.
I think this season, different than any other.
And they have a shot, but what's going to What's going to be
Who's-
their undoing is the lack of experience in playoffs.
Okay, so who's got the most experience in the playoffs? Phoenix. How well do they do in the playoffs?
Terrible.
The Lakers. Would you put the Lakers ahead of them?
No, I'm thinking they're going to make the playoffs.
They are making the playoffs.
They're
And
not going to make the playoffs.
they're already in. They're making the playoffs. They actually can move up to the 5th seed. It's that close, which is crazy to think about. But what I'm saying to you is that's what I'm saying. The teams with experience aren't very good in the playoffs. This team doesn't have to worry about facing a team that's been there every year and consistently wins and gets there. They're playing teams that aren't very good, even with the experience.
Yeah, but look, I like Denver in all of this.
And
believe it or not,
good call.
Believe it or not, I do like the Dallas Mavs.
They're out of the playoffs right now. They're not even in the play-in.
They'll get there.
Kyrie Irving has destroyed that team, and they are literally in, I think, 12.
Well, that's not surprisingly, but I mean,
12.
I think they'll get in, and I think they'll be one of those teams. And if they end up in that 7th seed, then there's no way Sacramento's winning that series.
They're not getting in 7. They're not even making. They're lucky they get into the 10th.
If they get into that play-in, they can be the 7th seed.
I gotta look this up. While you keep talking.
I'm just telling you. You're banking on this talent from Sacramento that still has to develop.
But they've learned how to win now. They've learned how to win.
They're just learning how to win, Eric. This winning one season in the regular season isn't the playoffs. They're going to do it in the playoffs, and they're not going to do it in the playoffs first year. It's not happening.
Dallas is 11th right now, a game behind Oklahoma City.
Yes.
That's how bad they're playing.
Yes.
The Lakers are 9th, Minnesota 8, New Orleans 7.
Yeah.
There are not very good teams. Golden State is the only team you could say has the experience and has won it all consistently, and they're not playing good basketball. They're 9-29 on the road. They are horrible.
Yes. Look, I get it, though, Eric. I get it. And Sacramento might be a better team in the next couple of years, and I get that. But if you haven't experienced playoffs on a team, in years, and then you expect them to win it out in the first year, it's not happening.
They could win the West. Maybe they don't win the whole thing.
They're not going to win the West. They'll be lucky if they get a playoff win.
Second
in the first round
in the West this season. One win in the playoffs.
Don't be surprised if they're out in the first round. I'm just letting you know that's probably going to happen.
Kenny, keep an eye on this one because I know for a fact Kenny knows basketball. Kenny's my basketball guy. He's even trying. He's pushing hard to get them on the top 5 in the NBA rankings. So Sacramento, but we will. Ron, do you know who now has the longest streak in professional sports with not making the playoffs consecutively?
Oh, that's a good one. I want to say it would be
all 4 major sports, by the way.
I want to say maybe it's a baseball team. It's got to be a baseball team because they're terrible at the bottom. So I'm going to say maybe American League West. I'm going to say Texas Rangers.
Okay, you would be incorrect. It is the New York Jets. 12 seasons now have not been.
Snap! Really?
The New York Jets now take over. They officially have a title of the worst team in professional.
Well, who's the one behind them? Because that's going to happen. They're going to be on the clock
baseball. Soon. I think it was Anaheim was one of those teams.
Oh yeah, they're pretty bad. Even though they have all those great players coming in and out of there, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And you think about what Anaheim's had.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They have Ohtani, who pitched a 10 strikeout opening day. Guy's just good. He had as many strikeouts as the Red Sox gave up runs today.
Yeah. Is that it?
Go Padres.
There we go. You're back on it. You're back on it. I couldn't get that up.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't
Yeah,
need to.
So, one more story we want to talk about in the NBA, and that's Brandon Miller from Alabama. He has declared for the NBA draft. Would you feel comfortable if you were an NBA GM drafting him? They're talking a very high draft pick right now, could be in the top 5, if not higher. Would you take a chance on Brandon Miller?
Me, myself, no, I would not do it. That's just playing with fire. You know, I mean, look, I mean, how much is he better than everybody that's going to be out in the draft?
I don't know. There's a lot of questions, right? With that whole situation where he brought the gun, Kenny says nope, right? I just don't know, like, decision making, an adult. Can you trust? He's a 20-year-old kid. I understand you make mistakes, but
Yeah.
understanding what you did and what it led to, a young woman has lost her life. And as much as you didn't get charged for it, somehow you're a part
Yeah,
of it.
I don't draft him. I mean, you could look. He's not. He's not. Kobe coming out of college, out of high school, or anything like that. He's not. Michael coming out of college. So I'm not drafting a kid that could potentially be a problem for my franchise. And when I can go and draft another guy that's going to do primarily the same thing and has a cleaner record.
Yeah, no, it's a hard thing to decide what to do, because to me it's
It's not like this is a sure thing number 1 pick, blah blah blah. That's not what you're getting there. And I mean, we saw the questions of the players that came out, on the top end of the draft last season. And there was nobody that was the standout guy, and people drafted, and then some people ended up getting hurt in, summer leagues and stuff like that. And so you don't create another problem.
So would you not draft them at all? Would you?
I wouldn't draft them at all. I
wouldn't draft them at all. Nope. See, I don't know if I'd late round pick. Maybe I'm not taking this guy as the face of my franchise for the next 10 years, just because I know this story may follow you for quite some time.
Right.
You're a second round pick. Maybe nobody really.
Oh, a second rounder. I mean, you might, because how many second rounders really turn out to be anything, right?
I mean, you have a 2-time MVP that was the second rounder, but anyway.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean, how many times did it happen? Not very often.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just tough. And again, you feel bad for the family that lost, that young woman. And now this kid's looking at a future where he can make millions of dollars.
I don't attach my franchise to names that are like that. I don't do it.
I got some of those results. Believe it or not, NHL team's the next one up. Buffalo Sabres. 12 seasons, but that may end this season too, right? So it's close. No, they're close. That could happen. And then Detroit Tigers, another team.
Really, Detroit Tigers?
Yeah,
it seems like just yesterday they were playing the Red Sox.
9 years. It's been 9 years.
Wow.
9 years.
So it's not really that bad. It's not like a team's been out there for 3 decades or anything.
No, it's not yet.
It's not Cub territory.
As bad as we know, some of those teams, Oakland, they've been in the last 8 years, which is kind of crazy to think about. But
yeah.
Let's talk some Major League Baseball. Opening day was a couple of days ago. We've had some baseball. There is going to be somebody who isn't pitching anytime soon, and that's the gentleman we bring in on the screen, and that's Justin Verlander. So he's been placed on the IL by the New York Mets. Are you starting to look at the Mets offseason as a big mistake based on Edwin Diaz now lost after the World Baseball Classic? We're already seeing an injury to their top pitcher in Justin Verlander.
How long is he going to be out?
Right now, he's saying it's minor. If it was the postseason, he could pitch. This is more of a precautionary type of move, but it's a muscle strain near his pitching shoulder. Again, he's 40 years old. He's got a 2-year deal now. I'm just starting to question maybe the moves that they made ultimately going to cost them because they're investing so much money on guys that may not even play for the team.
We had this conversation last year and the year before, same team.
Yeah.
What did I tell you last year? I think you have to question what their training consists of, because this is a problem with this team every year with their pitching staff. And it goes back a long ways. I mean, you go back with Matt Harvey, Jacob DeGrom had problems, all of them. All of them.
Scherzer has problems.
Yep. So look, this is a team philosophy in pitching problem. They have all these great arms and they don't last for whatever reason.
And this is
might be pushing them too much or whatever.
40 years old. He had Tommy John surgery a couple years ago.
Yep.
To me, look, you start to see these breakdowns of these top guys, and to your point, it seems to be common with the New York Mets, but they invested a lot of money. That's 2 years, $86 million, almost $87 million.
Yeah,
and you're already
a team that's locked for the playoffs, right?
We thought on paper you would say without a doubt, and now they're starting. Little pieces are starting to fall.
Yeah,
they weren't even in Sports Unfolded top 5. Neither New York team. So again,
I would have put him in top 5.
I don't know. You got to talk to my man Mickey, but that's what I'm saying. There was some insecurities there on if they were going to be a top team.
Top 5 teams would have been to me, not in any particular order: Toronto, Houston, Braves, Mets, Padres, and then also the Dodgers are in that mix. So that's those. So top 6 for sure. But now I'm looking at this and
yeah, listen, San Diego to me is the front runner to win the whole thing. I mean, I think they're loaded. I think, to your point, look,
I'm not so sure. I think Toronto.
Well, I'm saying in the National League, because I thought the
National League, I think San Diego.
We started to put the Mets up there as one of those, right? And then it's like these are some key injuries. And yes, this might be a minor thing, but if you're at 40, guess what? You're probably going to have a few minor things.
Yeah.
So this could haunt the New York Mets for quite some time. Look, at the end of the day, baseball's back. It's exciting to see it back. Some of the rule changes.
Yeah, the rule changes are coming into play a lot because already, opening day, they shaved off a half an hour from last year's average for game time. I mean, it went from 3:15 to 2:45 on opening day.
But that's
saying something.
It was funny because I was talking to somebody at work today about this, and they're not really a big baseball fan. They just had heard something on the radio or on TV about a story. And they said the woman that was on the interview said, I just paid $300 for tickets. I don't care if it lasts 4 hours because guess what? I want to get my money's worth. So people that are actually going to the games now, this may hurt them because the prices didn't go down because you're getting less time. You're paying the same amount for less time and less product. This is for TV. This is for kids that the quick TikTok where they just want to blow through everything in 5 seconds and move on to the next story.
Yeah, so, 21 stolen bases in opening day. Only one caught stealing.
Pizza boxes, baby.
Yeah,
pizza boxes.
Yeah.
So
it's too easy.
It's gonna be fun. We still got to do our Major League Baseball preview. We'll try to do that next week, and at least give you our picks on who we think is going to win the whole thing. But Ron, we're bringing back Face Off this week. I know you were excited about this. One of our big fans that actually watches the show pretty religiously was Manny. He actually gave us this story, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles. So they have basically put forth a rule change to the NFL to see if they could change the onside kick to a 4th and 20 opportunity for a team. So basically, you don't have an onside kick. You would just be at a 4th and 20, and if you make the 4th and 20, you would keep the ball and continue to try to score. One of us has to be for this rule change. One of us has to be against it. You are first. You get to pick which way are you heading.
I'm against it.
Okay.
I don't look. If you want offense, then yes, you do this. But I think it's just way too easy for 4th and 20. It's way too easy. And you might think, well, it's 20 yards, Ron. It's not that easy. In this league today, it's easy. And you can tell just by the pass interference. I mean, all you have to do is just throw it in the vicinity of who you want to go to, and the chances are they're going to get called for pass interference, and you end up making that first down, and then you have the ball. I think, for the odds, I think you have to make it a little more difficult than that. I just don't. I think it's just too easy 4th and 20. Because when you look at the percentages, it's not very high for the onside kick, but at least that's an exciting play.
Okay. So I disagree with you, and I honestly, truly disagree with you. Onside kicks, you know how many there were last season?
There was a bunch, and there weren't many that succeeded.
56. You know how many converted?
Yeah, I thought it was like something like 4 or something like that.
Three.
Yeah.
5.3% chance.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Why waste the time? You're not going to get it. You got a 5% chance.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. The 4th and 20 is too easy.
No, but fourth down. Listen, fourth down in 15 or more yards in the NFL last season, 13.9%.
Oh, that's all right.
That's not bad. To
No,
me,
it isn't bad.
I was starting to be against it, but then I'm saying, look, that's still not bad. At least a 15% chance is 3% or 3 times more likely than an onside kick. How many times has your team been down? You're going for the onside kick. Why bother? Why bother? 56 times 3? You're going to get 3 of them. At least this, to me, it gives you a little bit better average of saying, look, maybe that's 6, 7, 8, right? 9. That'd probably be 9 out of 56 times. So you're still in that back end of it, 3 times more likely, though, to get it. To me, it gives a team a legitimate shot to say, hey, look, I got a better odds than if I try to kick this onside kick. I think I may want this change now. After looking at the numbers, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, I mean, then you're talking, that kind of makes sense. But I would also want the referees to swallow the whistle.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe there's no penalties that can be called, or, it can't be holding. It can't, if it's a blatant pass interference or something. Yeah. Where you tackle a guy before he you know what I mean?
It would definitely have to be reviewable.
Yeah, something. But, the only fear I had, it was like, I started thinking about it if I was going to argue the other way. Like, I don't want to turn into the XFL. But I also want to have an opportunity where, to me, the onside kick is worthless. It's worthless.
I get it. And I get that. But you're still starting to deteriorate
It's changing, yes.
The fundamentals of football.
I agree. But then maybe go back to the way the old onside kick was, where there was a higher percentage. Because now that the teams are like the 10 yards and they can't move until the ball actually, right? Like, maybe they change that. Then I could say, keep the onside kick. But the way it's set up right now, you give me a 5.3% chance. I'm not even wasting my time.
Right. It's terrible. And I knew it was very low. I was off by 1, which is actually
pretty good. That's good. That's good.
I thought maybe I might have missed one somewhere,
After reviewing all of the games, right?
It's like
no, but that's kind of crazy. But great points. Obviously, I won that one. So here we go. I'm 2-0 tonight, and we're gonna move on now to some NHL, and we're gonna bring up the Boston Bruins. They're all excited. They're hugging. They're excited because they won the President's Cup, Ron.
Yeah.
Does that basically guarantee doom and gloom for this team now in the playoffs?
No.
Okay, and you got to explain to me why. I get the
look,
this is how much Ron loves the Bruins. We're not even on the screen now. He said, I'm not. I just want to see Pasternak and Olmark and all those boys on the screen. Yeah. You don't need us.
Yeah, but no. Look. It for some teams this would be a problem.
Okay, but not this Bruins team.
I don't think so. Not with this team. Because of the leadership that they have on the ice, I just don't I don't see them going into slumps. I don't see them going into any bad habits.
Okay.
So you don't
believe in jinxes.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay. So I did some research, Ron, because
I know the numbers.
So in the last 15 years,
Yeah,
how many Stanley Cups have been won by a team that won the President's Cup?
I believe it's 1,
Two.
2.
2007-08 Detroit Red Wings and the 2012-13 Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Do you know the only team that made it to the Stanley Cup and lost?
I believe it was the Red Wings, wasn't it?
Boston Bruins
Huh.
lost to Vancouver in 2010-2011.
Mm.
Teams are more likely to lose in the second round. So out of those 15 years, 7 times they've lost
Yeah.
in the second round
Yeah.
and haven't even advanced to the conference finals.
Right.
Does not look good for the Boston Bruins.
No, it doesn't. And, you know, when you look at that Eastern Conference, I mean, that's why.
This is my point, Ron. I think this was the worst thing that could have possibly happened to them. They played too well all season. And I think the first time they have some adversity in the playoffs, because everything gets tighter, it gets a lot harder. I don't know if they can do it. I agree with you with the experience and everything they have. And I don't want to be the doom and gloom because I am a Bruins fan. I know you're a diehard.
And
But
I don't even want
to.
to. I like all season long. I never wanted them to be like the number one team.
Right?
You know,
and this is the problem. They've been too good all year.
Right.
It's like you're waiting for them to just trip.
Yeah.
It's like a guy running the 100-meter dash, and he's like so far ahead. You're like, there's no way. And then he looks back, and then he falls right at the end, right before the finish line, and the guy passes him.
Well,
Like,
it's the
that's
same thing. It's the Mario Kart thing, right?
Yeah.
You're ready to win the race, and somebody hits you with that blue shell
right? And
just
knocks
before
you
you
out.
get there.
Exactly.
And then like 5 people pass you.
Yeah, and this is I'm so scared now because the numbers literally tell you that they're going to lose in at least the second round.
Right.
That's the numbers. Only 3 teams have made it to the cup.
And then you look who they're going to have to play in that second
to get through.
round.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This, dude, it looks like it's almost a guarantee, and it's going to stink because we're going to be stuck talking about all these other teams in the Eastern Conference Finals and the Stanley Cup, and not our Boston Bruins. And
it was hard last season when they had a really good team.
Yeah,
but they couldn't win in Carolina.
Yeah, and again, you got that, and that was the first round. Right.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't think their 1-8 matchup's going to be any easier this year. Even though they'll be at home, it's still going to be a tough.
There isn't going to be an easy match in the Eastern Conference at all.
I hope we're wrong. I really do.
Oh, I do too.
Especially for you.
But I'll tell you why I'm a little more optimistic this season. When you look at first we said the leadership. You look at those guys up at the top of the lineup, right? You know, you have your Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak, Hall, Krejci, great. But if you look at the back end of those forwards, you have Coyle, you have Hathaway, you have Foligno, you have Noshik, and Frederick. These guys just never give up. They never give up. And that's the thing, so you have all that leadership. Like, that's a lot of veterans right there. Yep. I mean, Frederick is like basically the one young guy that's regularly in that lineup on that third line. And then you have a couple of guys jumping in and out of the lineup like Lauko. But for the most part, they're all veterans. So they know it has to get done. And then you throw the fact that this could be it for Bergeron and Krejci. All of those other players are doing it for them.
Yeah, I hope so. But
look at the back end, Eric.
Even defensively, look, Lindholm and Grizzly, they've been playing phenomenal all year. And here's the thing that scares me. Can I tell you the one thing that scares me?
Forbert.
Can I tell you the one thing that scares me? And you're going to think I'm crazy. I know you're going to think I'm crazy. You're going to tell them I'm crazy.
No,
it's the goaltending. Yeah. It's the goaltending. Because Linus Ullmark has been so good.
Yeah. And so is Swayman.
But Ullmark's like on a different level right now than anybody else in the NHL.
Right.
And this is not the guy we expected him to be. We thought he'd be good. He'd be solid. And I'm afraid that that's what he may become.
I
in the
thought
playoffs.
Swayman was going to take the job from him.
Right. So what happens if he becomes that guy in the playoffs?
Then-
That's what scares me. Because
Yes,
that's the
well,
only
that-
that's the one if factor in this whole thing. Because I don't think Parsnak's going to lose anything, and Marchand and Hall
No.
and Krejci. I think those guys are going to be fine because they've done
Yes.
it consistently throughout their career.
But see, the good thing, Eric, is you do have Swayman, and he can shut teams out. So, when I look at it, that's why this team didn't fall into those traps very often, just late in the season, because they're now starting to, put some guys not playing as much in a game. So they're putting other guys out there and kind of experimenting with lines and penalty killing and, the whole bit. The one thing that could put the kibosh is their power play. Their power play has not been good. That is the thing that I worry about. This is a team that should be scoring a lot of power play goals, and they're not. 5-on-5, and when they're shorthanded, they're dominating. Power play is
they
not.
have the advantage. I hope we're wrong. I will keep saying that. I hope we're wrong, and I hope this doesn't happen. But NHL playoffs right around the corner. It's crazy.
Yep.
So is the NBA. So we're going to be having a lot of playoff discussions. Hopefully those Bruins continue to do it, and we get to talk about them basically till June. We'll see. But it is now time for pick and roll.
It's time for pick and roll.
Thank
So
you, Kenny, for doing that announcement.
Tonight's pick and roll, we are going to rank these 5 wide receivers that wear the lucky number 13. 13, episode 13. All these receivers wear number 13. Odell Beckham Jr., Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, and T.Y. Hilton. We are going to rank them from 5 to 1. You are lucky enough to go first this week. Lucky 13, have at it.
Well, this was an interesting one.
It was different than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, very different for me. I'm stunned who I put up at the top of the list, but let's get at it. Number 5, I have T.Y. Hilton.
Wow, okay.
When you look at those numbers, 638 receptions, 9,812 yards, 53 touchdowns. It averages 15.4 yards per catch.
Just best out of the 5 of these guys.
Yes, he is. He's also been to 4 Pro Bowls, but no All-Pro.
Okay.
No All-Pro.
Okay.
But I went with another stat: yards per game.
Okay.
He had the lowest on the list. And, look, I think all these wide receivers are
Maybe
very
because
talented.
he played the most games, too, out of all 5 of these.
Yes, but, he's in a decline right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is one of those reasons why he's at number 5.
Okay.
But he was by far the lowest per game for the yards. And, when it comes down to that, I want somebody that's going to get the yards no matter what. And to me, that just shows that he's not getting the yards no matter what. So I went with Hilton at number 5. Number 4, I went with Keenan Allen. 796 receptions, 9,287 yards, 52 touchdowns, 11.7 yards per catch.
Reception, yeah.
And, the more I thought about it, the more I decided I was throwing that stat out.
Okay.
And because
depends on the offense and what they run.
Right,
Yeah,
it does. But to me, 11.7 yards per catch. He's getting a first down when he catches the ball. So that's the thing with all these guys. When they throw them the ball, they're getting a first down for the most part. So I kind of threw that one out. I just I think he's a guy that I think needs to have a big monster year. He's been steady.
5 Pro Bowls is the most out of any of these guys.
Right. 5 Pro Bowls. But again, Eric, I don't really care about the Pro Bowls. I want all pro.
Okay.
Because that tells me that they're the best at what they do.
Okay.
Keenan Allen is not the best at what he does.
Okay. All right.
And so I put him at number 4. Okay. Number 3, here's where these guys, I think, separate from the other two.
All right.
I like Odell Beckham at number 3. And, when you look at, the numbers, yeah, they're okay. They're okay. 531 receptions, 7,367 yards. I think he should have more. But, I mean, you're talking he had Eli and Baker Mayfield as quarterbacks. And he spent a year not even a year with Stafford. So I think his numbers, he had a chance to win the MVP in that Super Bowl if he stayed healthy that whole game.
Okay.
He had a shot.
Okay.
It was probably going to go to Stafford, but he had a shot. I think he's so dynamic, but he draws so much coverage. And so he doesn't have a guy that's really been able to throw it into holes to him, and we've seen the tantrums,
Yep.
Throw it to me, I'm wide open. And it's true. He was wide open a lot and never got the ball. And his numbers could have been so much better if he had a good quarterback, period.
Okay. All right. I see where you went with that.
He also averages 76.74 yards per game, which is pretty good. Pretty good.
Absolutely.
It was his second out of all these guys.
But again, played the second least most amount of games.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't want to see him in a Jets uniform with Aaron Rodgers. Just saying.
Don't speak it into existence, my friend. Don't do it.
Number 2, and you're going to find this surprising, Mike Evans.
Wow, I am. Your list is blowing me away right now. I am so.
I know.
If I could put the emoji up right now with the brains just exploding, that's where I'm at right now.
683 receptions.
Yep.
The only guy over 10,000 yards, 10,425, 15.3 yards per catch, 81 touchdowns.
Yeah.
By far the most.
By far the most. And I had a really tough time with these two guys, believe it or not. And I wouldn't be surprised if you had Michael Thomas last. Okay.
But I have him first.
Wow. Okay. You got to explain that one.
73 games played. So.
Yep. Least of everyone.
But he's played half as much as Mike Evans. Keep that in mind. Half.
Okay.
He has 526 receptions, which is only
60 receptions.
160 receptions difference, right?
Roughly. Yep.
Playing half the games. 6,121 yards, and 11.6 isn't a lot. It's, in fact, the worst out of all of these guys. But again, he gets that first down anyway.
Okay.
But he gets 83.85 yards per game, the most of anyone.
Okay.
And when I saw that, I was like, what's he going to be like, in another 5 seasons? He's going to have better numbers than all of these guys in another 5 years.
If he decides to play, sure. Okay. But
yeah, if he decides to play. 35 touchdowns, that isn't a lot.
Worst on the list. Okay.
It is the worst on the list. And I
by
get
far,
it. I get it.
Almost. I mean,
I get it.
I'll let you finish your list.
But the only guy to be all pro.
Yep. Okay.
And he's done it twice already. He's done it twice.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm looking at this and I'm like, wait a minute, there's got to be something else about this guy, right? And that's when I decided to do the yards per games. And I'm like, wow, that's a big difference. Like, he is 7 more yards per game. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but you're talking, you're almost getting an extra first down by the guy, and you give him a quarterback. Give him a quarterback.
He had Drew Brees.
Yes, and that's why he started out good, but he was younger. Then
Exactly.
the last couple of years,
The
what?
last couple of
What?
years, he's missed like 3 years out of like the last 3
I'm
years.
just saying.
I think he
Just
played 3
saying.
games last year, and then he missed 2 years before that.
He could.
He's
You
not
give him
playing.
you give him a quarterback.
He's
You
not
give
going
him
to
a
play.
quarterback. He's going to put up those numbers,
He's
and you just
you're
got
rough here. You're rough here.
No,
You're rough
you gotta focus on this guy. I'm
Ron,
telling you, this guy is the
by
better
far,
player.
by far your worst pick and roll ever.
No, it's not.
Without a
He's
doubt,
so much better than the
100%.
other guys.
The
He's so
man's
much better.
35 touchdowns. He had the worst out of all of these guys.
Yeah, but he gets
He's
more
had-
yards per
he
game.
had the
more
least
yards per
receptions,
game.
least receptions, lowest
He's
yards,
only played 73 games.
Lowest-
Everybody else is
because
way
he's
more.
taken 3 years off.
It doesn't matter,
3
Eric.
years.
He's still
He doesn't
producing.
even play.
You
He
give
can't
him
produce if he doesn't go on the field. How's he producing?
you put up all of those. If you even up the games, he's got better numbers than
Yeah,
Mike Evans.
and
Better numbers than Mike
Mike
Evans.
Evans has had 1,000-yard receiving every single year of his career.
Right.
Every
So
single
what does
year.
that tell you? You give this guy the same
Exactly.
opportunities.
You know what that means? Mike Evans plays. Michael Thomas does not.
Well,
But
I'm
anyway,
taking
okay.
Michael Thomas. I'm
My
taking Michael
list.
Thomas.
My list.
Yeah.
At number 5, Michael Thomas by far had the worst numbers. I don't care about the 2 All-Pros. The one-time Offensive Player of the Year. He
You're out
had
of your
2
mind.
solid. He had 2
You're out
solid
of your
years.
mind. You're
2
out of your
solid
mind.
years, and then he decides he doesn't want to play anymore. And he
You're out
had
of your mind.
the probably 3rd best quarterback in NFL history in Drew Brees. So that kind of helped him. At number 4,
Oh, and Mike Evans didn't have a good quarterback?
he had Tom Brady for 3 years.
Yes, exactly. That's
before
why
that,
his numbers are so good.
Jameis Winston?
3
Jameis
years with
Winston.
Tom Brady.
That's
3.
okay, how many years has Mike Evans played?
How many touchdowns did he
10.
get the last 3 years? How many
10.
touchdowns?
10.
The last 3 years.
It doesn't matter.
Well, how does that not matter?
Because he's still got 1,000 yards every year. Every
Yes.
single year.
But he got all of those touchdowns with Tom
He did
Brady.
not get 70 touchdowns with Tom Brady.
Oh, come on.
81 touchdowns. Okay, go ahead.
on.
You know what? Hold on. All right. Since we're going to do this tonight, this is where we're at tonight. Okay. Let's see. Last 3 years, Mike Evans, 13, 14, and 6. So that is 33. So he
33.
got 50 plus touchdowns before that.
Right. Out
Okay.
of all those seasons, look at how many games he's played. He's played them almost the most games.
Because he plays every
every
season.
Oh my God, Eric, you're not looking. You're not
I
seeing.
am looking. I'm looking right at the numbers.
Yeah, but you're not seeing them.
I'm not seeing them. Clearly, I'm
You're not
seeing them.
seeing them.
They're right in front of me. Mike Evans, 1,000-yard season for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years straight.
Yeah, and Tom
And-
Brady is a big factor in this.
Tom Brady is not, because you can't count 2014 to 2019. He still did it. He had more receptions in 2016, 96, than he
and
ever did with
51
Tom
and
Brady.
50 touchdowns. 50 touchdowns.
No, 2016, he had 96 receptions and 12 touchdowns.
Yep.
That is by far his most receptions, even with Tom Brady.
Yes,
His
I
most
get it,
receptions were
Eric.
last season with 77 with Tom Brady.
But
He
you're
still
looking
did
at
better
a guy
with
yes.
other quarterbacks.
Look, Winston, say what you want about Winston.
Winston
You know,
stinks.
He
That's what I'm
does.
telling
He
you
throws
about
a
him.
lot of picks, but he throws the ball. He gets 5,000 yards every time. He throws the ball.
Mike Thomas, number 5. Odell Beckham Jr. at 4. Again, second lowest in receptions here, 531 receptions. His yardage, the second worst on this list as well. He does have 56 touchdowns, 3 Pro Bowls, an offensive rookie, the championship, which he didn't play. Only
He
has
played.
He didn't.
played until
He played for a quarter.
Third quarter.
No, he didn't. He got hurt in the first quarter. 96 games. That's a knock to me. He doesn't play. At 3, I went T.Y. Hilton. 15.4 yards per reception, best on this list. 9,812 yards. So again, second most on this list. 4 Pro Bowls, second most on this list. And he had the third most receptions. So I put him at 3. Keenan Allen with the 5 Pro Bowls, an offensive player, rookie of the year, comeback player of the year, 796 receptions, which is most by anyone on this list, and 52 touchdowns. Mike Evans has to be number 1, 683, 81 touchdowns, 10,425 yards, 15.3 yards per reception, 4 Pro Bowls, 1 championship in 137 games. Mike Evans by far the best wide receiver on this.
Yeah, Pro Bowls don't mean anything.
Okay, nothing means nothing to you except when it wants.
No, it doesn't mean anything.
When you want it to, it does. You clearly
Oh my
cannot.
God, no.
And now you're going to tell me Jameis Winston's the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Nobody said that.
So how
don't
does this
even
guy?
You're
So how
blowing
did he put these
smoke
numbers?
up your ass. You're
Hey.
blowing smoke up your ass.
I am not, because I'm telling you right now that Mike Evans with a crap quarterback still performed.
Crap quarterback that gets 5,000 yards every year,
Tom
but
Brady.
that's okay.
Yeah, Tom Brady for 3 years. All of a sudden now you're holding
I'm
that
just
against
saying.
him.
I'm just
And
saying.
he had better numbers with other quarterbacks
Yeah.
before Winston. But anyway, great pick and roll. I'm 3-0 tonight. Good job.
You're not 3-0. You lost that one
3-0.
badly.
Oh, I didn't.
Badly.
Lose that one badly. Michael Thomas is not the
Badly.
best quarterback on that list.
I know he's not the best quarterback.
He isn't. Or wide receiver for that matter. He'd probably be a better quarterback because he doesn't.
Oh,
obviously
come
doesn't
on.
run
Get
routes
out of here.
anymore.
You're out of your mind.
It is prediction time. Gained a little ground last week. I actually picked a NASCAR driver right, which blows my mind as well. But again, if you are live and you want to join in, please give us your picks as we put these games up. The producer is going to run that ticker so you'll know what games are coming, and you can give us your picks as well. But we want to get that list full of names. So Kenny, if you're out there, Manny, not a good week. He's starting to fade a little bit. Only 1-3. Ron 3-6. I was 5-4 last week. So we always pick the tough games. We're not going to pick the easy games. So we try to get the most difficult games possible. But we're going to start off this week, some NBA on March 31st. So tonight you've got the Denver Nuggets at the Phoenix Suns.
I'm going Denver on this one.
Interesting.
They're going to look. I don't have faith in the Suns. I just don't have faith in the Suns.
Okay.
I think Denver's a better team.
All right. Phoenix hasn't lost with Kevin Durant. This will be his 5th game with them. I am going Phoenix here at home with Kevin Durant. And I think this is going to be a statement game for Phoenix. April 2nd, we got
He'll probably get hurt.
Philadelphia 76ers. Kenny's going Suns as well. My man Kenny back in the battle. Good job, Ken. April 2nd, you got the Philadelphia 76ers at the Milwaukee Bucks. Joker not playing.
Jacob's not
playing.
out.
Too late. Can't change it.
Oh.
All right. Philadelphia 76ers at the Milwaukee Bucks.
You're not going to let me change my pick?
I am going Bucks.
You're not going to let me change my pick?
You want to change your pick?
Yes. If Joker's not playing, there's no way.
All right. I will change your pick. There you go. Okay. So you know what's going to happen? All three of us are going to lose this one. I'll watch Denver win.
Good.
Philadelphia 76ers at the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee took a beating by the Boston Celtics. They are going to come back and want to show some vengeance. I'm going Bucks here because they let one slip against Boston.
Yeah, I'm going Bucks as well. There's no way they're going to lose this one to 76ers now. There's no way.
All right. Kenny went 76ers. All right. April 5th, my friend, Los Angeles Lakers at the Los Angeles Clippers.
God.
Westbrook's starting to play some ball now, man. They've been playing pretty well, the Clips.
I'm going to go Clippers.
All right. I like it. I'm going Lakers here. I just feel like they're playing some better basketball lately. Better basketball. Let's see if Kenny, Lakers or Clippers, my friend. April Fool's Day, you got the Boston Bruins at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, Kenny went Clippers. Boston Bruins at the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's my pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Boston. I'm sticking with them. I think they're still the better team. Pittsburgh just been inconsistent all season. Oh, Kenny went Pittsburgh. Uh-oh.
Mm. Now it's on April Fool's.
April Fool's Day.
So if you lose, do you get to claim at least one April Fool's?
I guess if you want to claim April Fool's.
I'm going to Boston.
You are going Boston. I knew you would. I knew you would, my friend. April 3rd, special day for me. It will be my birthday. Vegas Golden Knights at the Minnesota Wild. Maybe I'll have to go to this game, celebrate my birthday there in Minnesota. That's where I want to go for my birthday.
Really?
No, at all. And I love Minnesota.
Wait,
please.
that's a Christmas card.
There it is. The whole state. I'm wiped out. I wiped out the whole state of Minnesota.
Well, I'm going to go Minnesota.
Okay.
Not that I hope that Cassidy loses, but I hope that he loses.
Yeah. So
there's a Christmas card from Cassidy I won't be getting.
I love it. So not only have I offended Minnesota by saying I don't want to go to Minnesota, I'm picking Vegas Golden Knights here as well. So I'm not even picking their team. That's how much I am not liked in Minnesota right now. Kenny, Minnesota, Vegas at Minnesota, if you throw that up there. April 5th, you got the Tampa Bay Lightning at the New York Rangers. Kenny went Minnesota. Tampa Bay Lightning at the New York Rangers.
I'm going to go Rangers at home.
I went Rangers as well. I agree with you. At home. At home.
Home
Kenny,
on the range.
Tampa Bay at New York. Rangers. Let us know who you pick. And then tomorrow, we got the Final Four, my friend. The Final Four. So, first game we're picking, number 9, Florida Atlantic at number 5. Oh, home on the range. He went range. Number 9, Florida Atlantic at number 5, San Diego State.
I am going Florida Atlantic.
The more I researched it, the more I agree with you. I went Florida Atlantic as well. I feel like they're the superior team, deeper team. I think that San Diego State cannot score enough. And I feel like Florida Atlantic's going to put, the ball in the hoop a little more.
Yeah.
I went Florida Atlantic. I know Kenny's excited about the NCAA, so I'm sure he's got his pick. The second game will be, you went San Diego. Uh-oh, Kenny knows something we don't, maybe. Whole Florida Atlantic team's out. You can tell us. We got the second game's the number 5 Miami at number 4 UConn. I am up. This is my pick. I'm going UConn. I'm going UConn. I'm going to stick with my my state.
I'm going Miami.
Going Miami.
I think UConn's going to choke.
Oh, there goes your card coming for me from Connecticut. So it's one down for you. One down for you. Kenny, who do you got?
I didn't get from you last year either.
Yeah, there you go. Because you probably pissed me off, especially with your last pick and roll. I think that alone, I shouldn't give you a Christmas card. Kenny, and Kenny's got to be going UConn here. Got to be. Miami. Whoa. In a shocker.
Oh.
A shocker. Kenny going Miami. I hope you do not walk out of your house and tell people this, Kenny, because Kenny is also from Connecticut. Be careful.
Here we go, Kenny. See, Kenny's got guts.
Kenny's got some moxie is what we'll call it. Tonight, Ron, big game in NCAA women's basketball as well in the Final Four. Number 2, Iowa at number 1, South Carolina. Who do you have in this one? This is a tough one to pick.
Well, I'm going to go Iowa.
Wow.
I think Kristen Clark is on a mission.
Caitlin
Clark is on a mission. And after what I saw the other day, with that triple double with 40 points. The only time it's ever been done in the tournament, in men's or
NCAA.
women's.
Yeah, no, it's she.
That was a
great player.
performance to be just for the,
Talked about
for
for
the
years.
ages.
Yep, talked about for years.
And I think it's going to happen again.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So I thought I was going to go upset here for you, and I said I got this one. I went Aya as well. I think that I'm looking at it and I'm thinking like that UNLV team that was so dominant all year back in the day with Larry Johnson and all them guys. And oh yeah, great coach though. Dawn Staley is a phenomenal coach. I won't take that away from her at all. But I just feel like it might be that pressure, like the undefeated Patriots, that UNLV team, some of those teams that were just so good all year long. Iowa's got the best player right now in college basketball, in Caitlin Clark.
I would sing that song under pressure.
Under pressure.
But we can't because we don't have the
Copyright infringements. Yes. Copyright infringements. Great predictions, my friend. We got a few different. We'll see how that turns out. Ron, before we go on to our final thoughts, can you tell all the wonderful people out there how they can be a sponsor of our show and what they need to do?
Why, yes, Eric. Of course I can. That is my
Yeah, I know. You lost. We know about your Dawn Staley story and that you lost to her.
What?
Kenny played Dawn Staley once. And he didn't realize it was Dawn Staley, and she actually whooped him. She whooped him pretty well back in the day.
Kenny, I'll play it.
Oh, boy, here we go. Oh, boy, both of you will be out before they talk about the IL at that point. Ron, tell the fans out there how they can sponsor our show.
All right, it's easy, Eric. All you have to do is send us an email at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We can send out all the information. And really, the information that you need is that it costs less than going to your favorite coffee shop for a large coffee and a donut. So just send it in. We'd love to have a sponsor, especially for that pick and roll segment. You know, like if you're a toothpick company,
toothpick company, there we go.
How
I'm
great
sure
would it
there's
be to sponsor that pick and roll? You know,
Pick and roll being brought to you by Ron's Toothpick. Yes, Ron's Toothpick. I will say this. If you're in Southeast Connecticut, we are on SEC TV. That's public access, channel 12, every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. So if you're local to the Connecticut area and you want your business to be mentioned on our show, right? Really good opportunity. If you're watching us right now on SEC TV, you can tell that we can definitely make sure that your business is being broadcast in Southeast Connecticut. What a great opportunity for you as well. Ron, it is final thought time. And our final thought doesn't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It can be about anything going on in the world today. You are first, my friend, tonight. So please, your final thought.
My final thought simply goes out to all the men and women of the NCAA tournament. It was a great year for it this year. And to single out one person, of course, I'm going to single out Miss Clark, because that was probably the greatest performance in the NCAA tournament that has ever been. I mean, to get a triple-double with 40 points, that's never been done by either men or women, is incredible. It is incredible. And those that got to see that game saw a treat.
Yeah.
And that should be, one of the greatest moments in an athlete's life. And it would be great if she can top it off doing it again.
Yeah. No, listen, my final thought was actually on Caitlin Clark as well. Being named AP Player of the Year, averaged 27.3, 7.3 rebounds, and 8.6 assists on the season. Talk about a great year for the junior guard out of Iowa. But I would be remiss if I did not at least give our condolences to all those families out in Nashville, Tennessee, with another senseless shooting. But some heroes did come out of that tragedy as well, with those brave officers that went in and made sure we didn't have a bigger tragedy. So again, you got it. We've talked about this so many times on this show, in these senseless shootings, but there are heroes out there as well that come out of these things, and some brave men and women that sacrifice their lives to save others. And that's what we saw in this tragedy. But Ron, I want to thank you again for tonight. What a great show. What a great episode. We had so much fun. I miss doing these during the week. We had a little bit of a snag the last couple of weeks and not doing some hockey and some basketball and stuff. But tune into us anytime we can. We're going to continue to produce this every single Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Rhode Island Broadcasting, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. Check those out. Follow us, like us, share, donate those bits and stars, continue to help us grow. And let's get a sponsor, man. We need a sponsor. 2023. Let's get that sponsor. Let's be able to advertise your business and help ours. Ron, I will see you next Friday night. I look forward to it. All the fans out there, every single night that have joined us live, we appreciate you. Kenny, thank you for joining us. Faceless, thanks for joining live tonight. And everybody that's going to watch afterwards, just continue to share and follow us. All we ever ask for is peace on earth.
Have a good night, everybody.